You can hear the roar of the V8s here in the nighttime at the Daytona International Speedway. The USRA have rolled in here to the beaches to storm the high banks here from the big super speedway. It's the Kronik Racing 250 here at Daytona, presented by Jamie Leach. Muth in the booth here, along with Jared Riker tonight to bring you all the action from Daytona. Jared, it's been a long time coming here for the USRA, and they are right here on your Turn 3 Racing Network.
Yeah, absolutely, Roger. The USRA running their first Cup race here, and we should be in for a great night of racing here at Daytona.
It's been a long off season for the USRA, and they put in a lot of time. Eric Holly and Jeff Pogo painting a lot of the cars you're going to see out here tonight. But it's all about these drivers out here. 34 drivers have rolled into Daytona International to try and take on the high banks here for the Kronik Racing 250. They put in the off-season, Jarrett. These guys have raced all over the place, but it is the first time that these guys are going to step foot or, well, sit down behind the wheel in their sim rigs for the Cup Series car with this brand new package.
Yeah, like you said, first time in the Cup cars here. A lot of them have been driving a lot of different cars, some street stock, some Xfinity cars, and going to be an interesting show here tonight.
Interesting show. In just about 4 minutes, we're going to take to the high banks for qualifying action. But before we even get to the qualifying action, let's take a look and see who's out there with the quick time tonight. A couple of regular names at the top of the board here for the USRA guys. Dan Dill and Chris Brown are right now sitting P1, P2 here in practice. But you got a newcomer here to the league, the 98 of Ron Holyfield, who joined in the offseason for the USRA. And boy, does he bring a lot of power behind the wheel of that 98 machine. Look for him this season to be quite a dominating threat. Then you have another new guy sitting there in the fourth spot, the 32 there of Aaron Davidson. He was quick in a lot of the offseason. He seems like he might be one of the guys here from the Super Speedway to watch out for. David Carman always packs a punch for the Kronik Racing team, along with his teammate of Jamie Leach. They sit 5th and 6th. Luke LaFaro, a longtime member of the USRA, sitting in your 7th position. Then you have the driver of the number 4 car, Mac Robelny. He is 8th on the speed charts here in practice. And another newcomer right here sitting 9th. That is Justin Wilson. Sitting in 10th here on the speed charts with just 3 minutes to go here in our practice session. That's going to be the number 90 of Michael Sturgill. So a lot of high power hitters here in the top 10 in practice. Jarrett, when we come to Daytona Super Speedway, you see a lot of pack racing. You find out who's got friends in low places. Is this a track, though, you're going to need as many friends in low places as you need?
Oh, absolutely. The more friends you can get, the better. Try to work with everybody and make your way to the front. Hopefully pull a win off here.
It's not a matter of if there's going to be a wreck at Daytona. It's usually a matter of when the wreck is coming. So it's going to be a kind of a guessing game to see when or if you can stay out of the trouble here at Daytona. These guys did run an Xfinity race here just 2 days ago at Daytona International. They went actually 98 laps, green flag pit stops, and unfortunately a little incident kind of ensued there with 2 to go to bring us to a green-white checker where Chris Brown actually nosed out the number 2 of Jamie Leach and the 39 of, well, myself. But they don't have to worry about me here tonight because we're up here in the booth, Jared. We got our soda, we got our pops, a couple beers tonight, and it's going to get crazy up here because in a minute and 40 seconds, we're going to turn them loose here for qualifying. So we're going to step away for just a moment, race fans. We're going to get you to our national anthem, and then we're going to drop the hammer for the first time in the USRA Cup Series for the Kronik Racing 250. We'll be right back.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the racket
back here, race fans. Qualifying has just started to get underway. No takers just yet. Actually, we do have one fast car out there onto the track first, and that's going to be, it is the 32 of Aaron Davidson. Don't be mistaken by the number on the side of that machine. You do see the 03 Red Bull car out there on track. It's really the 32 of Aaron Davidson. One of the guys that joined the USRA Series here in the offseason, and well, he's put on one heck of a show in the K&N dual race where he had one quick machine. Unfortunately, wasn't able to put her up at the front of the race when it all came down to it. But he is here back at Daytona to try and put himself into a good starting spot here tonight. He has a good-looking hot rod Red Bull machine painted by himself. And well, he's going to try and park her up there all night long to get all the airtime he can out there.
As we see Donald Bennett in the Turn 3 Racing Network car, the 33, out on track, about to make his qualifying run.
Yeah, Donald Bennett supporting the colors here for us for the Turn 3 Racing Network, all orange, and he's even wearing orange hair in his driver photo. So good to see Donald Bennett. He considers himself one of those super speedway guys and really enjoys when we come here to the high banks from Daytona, even when we head on over there to the I guess a little bit higher banks when we hit Talladega Speedway. That's the track that he really prefers. He likes to hang it high, wide, and 3 wide over there. Going to see if he can work his way to the front here tonight. Another one of those newcomers out here, the number 15, Ira Kohlhaas. He is here driving the 15 car here tonight, and he's trying to lock himself into a good starting spot. Let's see where Ira is going to come across the board here on his first time. He's going to go P3 out of the 4 qualified cars with a 49.693. Times are starting to roll in here. We'll put the ticker over there on the left-hand side. Donald Bennett does have the quick time for the time being. Matt Grobelny just put in a time here as he is actually the slowest out of the 9 drivers for the time being. It is Daytona. You see a lot of guys go out there and run the high line their first time by. It's the slowest way around, but it builds the most momentum up in the car, and then you go for the glory on lap number 2. Jared Hagedorn comes across the board. He did go to the top of the board for just a second. Brand new colors on the 22 there of Jared Hagedorn. I believe that one was painted, if I'm not mistaken, by Jeff Pogo. So that's another good-looking car as Ryan Jones goes to the top, and he's going to go one and done. He goes with a 48.803. He's got the quick time for the time being. California driver Doug Ungari had a quick time on the first lap, and everybody came back around for lap number 2, and he's dropping like a rock. But here he comes off turn number 4 through the tri-oval to put in his second time lap here for Daytona. Let's see where Doug Ungari is going to go on lap number 2. He goes to the top of the boards. New quick time here at Daytona. It's a 48.642. So that is the time everybody is shooting for, and just about over half the drivers have put in a qualifying time as Chris Brown is shutting her down. He goes 15th on the board. Jim Ott just put his time in. He goes second on the board with a 48.653. So that just shows you what kind of time that driver of the 00 had put down.
So you got the 23 of Travis White rolling out into the track for his qualifying effort.
Yeah, Travis White is another one of those new guys out here. We haven't seen him all off season long, and actually, I don't even think he got too many laps turned in practice at all. And this is the first time we're seeing him come out on track as he had an all-white car as he joined onto the backstretch there. Under a minute to go. I'm not sure if Travis White is going to be able to get the 23 car to the green flag and back around here because it's taken everybody else about 49 seconds on their first lap. So I think he's going to have to start shotgun to the field. A lot of guys actually electing to do that here for the season opener. Number 90, though, of Michael Sturgill is out here. He goes 11th quickest on the board in that brightly colored orange Ford Mustang. Darren Scandarito also out here on the track in the 51, and he will not get a timed lap in, as you see right there. Clock is expired. Doug Ungari is the pole sitter here for the Kronik 250 from Daytona. And it's going to be just about that time here in just a moment to set these drivers loose as they're all starting to grid up for the first time here from Daytona. So you are watching your Turn 3 Racing Network here. Tonight, the USRA, the Kronik Racing 250 from Daytona, presented by Jamie Leach. So we got to thank Jamie Leach for everything he does here for the USRA. As there you see it, pole setter out of California, Doug Ungari in the 5150 machine. Well, Jarrett, he's the first pole award winner here this year, so congratulations to Doug Ungari. Let's see if we can start working our way through our first starting lineup of the year. Doug Ungari going to start on the pole there in his Camaro. Right alongside him going to be Jim Ott in the number 5. Starting in the second row here tonight, the 58 of Justin Wilson and the Super Speedway Specialist, the 22 of Jared Hagerdorn. Fifth tonight here, a rookie with the USRA, the 64 of John Mullins. Jason Young going to roll off in the 6th spot with the 29 machine. 7th going to be that driver of the 81, Dan Dill. Luke LaFaro going to start right alongside him in the number 28th position for Luke LaFaro. 9th going to be the 44 rookie Jason Harrison. Right alongside him, rounding out the top 10, Dale Eland in the number 6 machine. The number 90 of Michael Sturgill going to start there in 11th, and Donald Bennett rolls the 33 in 12th. 13th starting spot going to go to the 91 here of Ryan Jones and Jordan Smith, starting 14th. 15th, the number 32, Aaron Davidson, and Ira Colehouse in the number 15, starting 16th. 17th here tonight, Tom Morano, starting in the 42 machine. Starting the number 4 car in 18th here tonight, going to be Matt Grobelny. 19th here tonight, the 31 of Michael Brumley, and rounding out your top 20, the number 30 of David Carmen.
And rolling off into 21st position will be the newcomer, the 98 of Ron Holyfield. Next to him in the 22nd position will be the 2 of Jamie Leach. And starting 23rd will be the number 1 of Chris Brown and the 94 of Calvin Miller, starting in 24th. And then you got the number 9 of Stephen Holmes, starting 25th. With the number 24 of Jeff Pogo starting next to him in 26th. Starting 27th, you got the 35 of R. Chase Berry. And starting next to him in the 28th position will be the 14 of Jeff Price. Rolling off 29th will be the 38 of Cody Levitt. Rolling off 30th will be the 11 of Steve Schmidt. Starting 31st will be the 03 of Bradley Allison. And starting next to him in the 32nd position will be the 43 of Craig Learman. Starting 33rd will be the 51 of Darren Scandarito. And newcomer Travis White in the 23 will be starting next to him in 34th. Starting 35th will be the 40 of Josiah Millen. Starting 36th will be the 8 of Eric Holly. And rounding out the field in 37th will be the 19 of Dennis Carmen.
That is your 37 car field here for Daytona. Let's take a quick look as they roll off turn 4. The track facts here tonight. It's a 4-turn, 2.48 mile track. 100 laps equals out to 248 miles. It's a cool 72 degrees here from Daytona, and it's about to get wild as the pace car is diving in for the first time here, and we're going green flag racing at Daytona for the Kronik Racing 250 presented by Jamie Leach, and it looks like a pretty good start throughout the field. Everybody 2 by 2 coming up through the gears.
And as they dive down into turn 1, it's going to be Doug Ungari with the lead. And it looks like second place Jim Ott is going to jump out to the high line, try to get around him, coming off at 2.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to because there is the 58 of Justin Wilson. Those two were able to work together in the offseason here at Daytona. They figure they might be able to play around here in the season opener. Right now, it looks like the 64 there of John Mullins having a little bit of connection issues down on the inside, but we are still 2 by 2 as far as the eye can see here from Daytona. Coming off turn number 4, who's going to lead the first laps and etch their name into the record books to never be taken away here for the USRA? It looks like it might be Justin Wilson going to lead the first laps here for the USRA Cup Series from Daytona. He's being pushed by the number 5 of Jim on the outside. The outside lane a lot of times seems to be like that might be where you want to hang out here tonight. We're going to have to kind of pay attention to see what has the more runs here. Sometimes you see the outside be the better line, which probably 95% of the time you see the runs come from the outside, but have to keep an eye on the inside, see if we can get some cars lined up down there headed the right direction.
Yeah, and as they come through 3 and 4, it looks like the 00 of Doug Ungari is trying to take the lead back as they come off of turn 4 down the short chute.
Yeah, just a short little distance from turn number 4 to the start-finish line here. And now Doug Ungari seems to have that 5150 machine out front here from Daytona. Just 2 laps in the books, just like that.
Just like that. And looks like Doug Ungari trying to pull away from the field with the 64, pushing him to the front.
So far, so good here from Daytona as they go down that big, long back stretch. Everybody side by side. A lot of guys playing a little bit of safe tactics towards the back of the track as Macro Belney going to throw the 4 to the inside there. Big move. That was the number 90 of Sturgill and the number 4 of Macro Belney going from the outside lane to the inside lane. They feel that's probably the better place to be, so that's going to leave the number 25 of Jordan Smith to the outside there in that black and neon yellow car to the outside all by himself, but he's got a friendly foe ahead of him, the 29 of Jason Young, so he's going to be able to draft up to the back bumper of him as Macro Belney now goes to the outside in the Sim Necessities number 4.
Yeah, it looked like that bottom line was going to start to form up, and then Grobelny and the, I believe that's the 91 of Jones, jump back out to the outside. Got that line formed up.
Doug Ungari still pacing the way on the inside line with Mullins there pushing away on his back bumper. Then it's Wilson to the outside with Jim Ott. You got Dan Dill. He's down there peeking in the VP Racing Fuels 81 machine, sitting third to the inside lane. Look for him to probably stay towards the front of this pack all night long.
They come into turn 1. Dan Dill still trying to catch up to the back of the 64 car as they work their way through 1 and 2.
It looked like for a moment there Wilson was going to come down and take the inside lane away from Dan Dill, but he elected to stay out there. Dill now catching back up. Might have been trying to save a little fuel in that 81 machine, but right back to the back bumper of the 64 he goes of Mullins. That bottom lane seems to be a little more dominant here in the early going. Looks like only one driver not taking the green flag here from Daytona. That's going to be the 38 of Cody Levitt. Just got a report. PC problems for the 38 of Levitt. Computer completely fried itself from what I'm getting across in my message boards here. So some unfortunate computer problems hampering the 38. It's going to put him in a hole from the drop of the green here on the season.
Yeah, definitely not the way he wanted to start the season. I know that, Roger.
So pretty much throw your entire, it looks like, top 35 within 3 seconds of each other. Then you got the 42, Tom Morano. He's out here running around by himself, well off the pace. 32 seconds behind your leaders. Not sure what happened to driver of the 42, but he's well off pace and behind the rest of your field. Jeff Pogo running right at the tail end of your field here in the 35th position. Chris Brown also hanging out back here with Eric Holly. Steve Schmidt towards the back here running 32nd, and then side by side everybody else throughout the entire field here, all the way up to your leaders who are side by side for the race lead.
And as they come down the backstretch, like you said, Roger, the 00 and the 58 side by side as they come down in the 3.
And as they get to turn 3, the inside lane edges ahead just a little bit because you see the 5 of Jim Ott not tucked up under the back bumper there of Wilson coming to complete lap number 7. Doug Ungari out front here once again at Daytona. He's just been holding the lane, holding the steady wheel to the inside. You see a lot of people jockeying for position towards the mid-pack. As you see him, there's a good angle 2x2. Everybody is.
Yeah, everybody's playing nice here these first opening laps, but as laps tick down, patience are going to start wearing out.
Yeah, it's been a long off season for these drivers, and now they're back behind the wheel. So maybe you got a little bit of the old ants in the pants, and they want to go for it. But you actually see everybody giving each other a lot of room out there. You don't see that outside lane crowding down onto the inside group. Everybody just kind of minding their own P's and Q's here early on. It's been a long off season, and nobody wants to be wrapped up inside the top or the first 10 laps of the season onto the hooker here tonight, because that would not be the way to go. You'd probably be then down in the Cody Levitt range, where it's unfortunate. I actually think I see the 38. He keeps being able to get into the lobby, and then I think the computer crashes on him. Everybody side by side down the backstretch, hanging on to the back. It's still going to be Jeff Pogo, Chris Brown, Eric Holly. They're sitting there 3 seconds behind your leaders. That just shows you how strung out this whole entire field is, because they are in this main pack draft, just hanging on right at the end.
Yeah, just keep in touch with the pack, not to lose the draft.
There you see Jared Hagedorn in the 22. He's going from the outside lane to the inside lane. He thinks he might be able to work with Dan Dill to get the inside lane rolling a little bit, because right now your front 2 cars of Ungari and Mullins have cleared that 58 of Wilson and Ott there onto the outside, as now they control the pace, the tempo of this race. As there you see that lap car of Tom Morano. He's just out in front of your leaders right now. He really has to be looking in his mirrors right now, worried that the whole pack is starting to bear down on him.
Yeah, this could get a little hairy trying to get around a lap car with this pack coming towards him at a very fast rate.
Ten laps in the books here. Ungari's been out front for the first 9. Wilson led the first initial drop of the green flag, and now we're going to see our leaders work on to our first lap car of the evening. Looks like the lap car there. 42 Morano going to stay to the high side here, because here comes your leaders down the backstretch, roaring into turn 3. It's going to get tight. It's a super speedway. Lots of banking out there, but it still gets tight going through the corner when you're 3 wide.
Yeah, 180 miles an hour or 200 miles an hour, it gets tight.
It looks like everybody halfway through the pack has been able to clear that lap down car. No trouble so far here. Doing a great job of working around that lap down car there, Morano. So he should be able to actually tag onto the back of this lead pack and be able to draft. And there was always, he tags the wall just a little bit before turn number 1. Josiah Millen goes up the track. Millen's a little wiggle wobbly now, trying to follow that lap down car of Morano at the back of the field to the outside lane.
Millen getting caught behind the lap car. Meanwhile, up front, you got the 29 of Jason Young. Looks like he's peeking his nose out there, trying to get a little air in that nose, trying to cool that radiator down.
Yeah, Jason Young, driver of the 29, started in your 6th spot, has now worked his way back up to the 6th spot as he's battling side by side there with Dan Dill, trying to see if he can work his painted up car by Jeff Pogo into a front running spot here to possibly take a lap lead to put his name in the book here and notch a bonus point in the early going. That inside lane just looks like they're a little formed up better than the outside lane, and Doug Ungari is still out front by about a half car, car and a half. That made sense, right?
Yeah, it made sense to me.
Yeah, perfect sense. Half a car, car and a half, yep.
Yeah, just don't think about it. Be all right.
So out of turn number 4, they come still 2 by 2 by 2. Looks like a traffic jam on the 101 right now. Nobody really being able to make any kind of headway out there. Still locked in side by side.
That sounds a little funny saying traffic jam going 200 miles an hour.
Traffic jam, bumper to bumper, going nowhere right now here from Daytona for the Kronik 250. Looks like Cody Levitt once again off the track, out of the lobby here, 13 laps down. .36 drivers right here in the lead pack from Daytona. I'm surprised we're still side-by-side racing. Tuesday night kind of seemed by about lap number 10. A lot of these drivers at that point knew with the 100 laps here from Daytona that they were going to, seemed like they were going to go right around single file for a lot of the race. But this pack looks maybe just a little bit more racy. come back down that long backstretch, still 2 by 2, and it's still the same 2 characters on the front row. Doug Ungari to the inside, and, well, here comes Wilson back to the outside, and he's got some dancing partners because, man, if you look at the guy who's running third to the outside lane, that of Jason Young, and then right behind him of Jordan Smith, 2 drivers out of the Texas area. They are hungry, and they always want to go to the front. It doesn't matter if we're here at Daytona or if we're at the little paperclip from Martinsville. So it's just a matter of time. How long do you think they're going to sit back there behind Jim Ott and Justin Wilson when they realize the outside lane isn't going?
Yeah, that outside lane is starting to form up, though. It's interesting to see if they can get it going. Or, like you said, maybe somebody will make them go 3 wide around this racetrack.
Well, now the 64 there of Mullins going to jump to the outside coming out of turn number 2. So that'll put now the 81 of Dan Dill to the back bumper of the 00 as they go down into turn 3. A little bit of a wiggle out of the 81 of Dan Dill.
And you got the 58 right on the back bumpers. He gives him a shot coming down the short street, the 64. As the 64 will lead, John Mullins will lead lap here at Daytona.
Yes, now John Millen's going to lead a lap, and then he is going to leapfrog down to the inside lane. Now he is going to control the pace to the inside lane. How good of a pusher is the 00 of Doug Ungari going to be? Because right now he's got nowhere to go other than to stay right there tucked to the back bumper of the 64 of Mullins. How nerve-wracking do you think it is out there right now if you're running around right around the 4th spot there? Dan Dill to the inside lane. He's got cars to his outside and can't go anywhere on the inside because the Ungari mobile's down there with Mullins in front of him.
Oh, it's definitely nerve-wracking being in that spot in the middle of the pack like he is, getting all that air turbulence being pushed around.
Well, how about we just take a lap around Daytona here on lap number 18 with Dan Dill. As he took the lap around Daytona Speedway, running with the guy, 3rd car to the inside. That's the 81 of Dan Dill, who runs in your 6th spot. Now he's the 4th car to the inside because there's a big moment there. And actually, it almost became an even bigger moment. It looks like the 58 of Wilson jumps to the inside lane, and then Jason Young almost went and followed him down there. Almost had a big moment here from Daytona.
Yeah, the 29 of Jason Young, I was watching him for a few laps as he takes the lead, dives down to the inside, coming through 3 and 4.
Yeah, so a new leader here from Daytona on lap number 20 as they work their way out of turn number 4. Jason Young now takes the lead, and he is going to lead a lap here. So etch the number 29 in the book. Jason Young out of Texas leading a lap.
And on the outside, Jim Ott trying to make a charge on the outside with the 25 of Jordan Smith pushing him.
Yeah,
just
now
can't seem to get that.
That's Jordan Smith, their teammate to the 29 of Jason Young. Young to the front. Now here comes Smith as he's going to try and look to the outside. Here goes Doug Ungari. Remember how long Doug Ungari has rolled around the bottom, pulling that train around. Now he's on the outside, 4th car to the outside lane.
Yeah, Doug Ungari slipping back a little bit. Jim Ott not giving up on an outside lane, as the 29 of Jason Young will lead that lap as they come down into one.
Yeah, so Jason Young has led the last 2 laps. Not really showing Jason Young on some of our timing and scoring here, so we're just going to... Oh, there's a block out of the 29 of Young as he goes up the track. He blocks the 5 of Jim Ott, and I believe the 25 of Jordan Smith may have been into the outside wall there on the straightaway when all that kind of unfolded.
Yeah, getting a little racy here in the early goings. Starting to throw a block this early in the race. That could get a little hairy.
Let's see if we can find a closer picture here of the 25 of Jordan Smith to see if there is any actual damage on that machine. I'm not really seeing as actually it's Jim Ott that looks like he has the right front damage on the 5 machine. So I wonder if that's going to hamper the number 5's performance on the outside lane as he's trying to pull the train down the backstretch. Jordan Smith still laying the wood to the back bumper of the 5 of Ott. That might not only hamper a little bit of a speed performance for the number 5, but that might also get him a little bit of worse for wear for fuel mileage here as we come to complete lap 23.
Yeah, you're definitely going to want to try and get all the fuel mileage you can with all this green flag racing.
Yeah, and looking at the pit strategy, we're probably not too far away from green flag pit stops here. Maybe in the next 5 to 8 laps, probably looking for a lot of these guys to start working their way down pit road, and then it's going to be the strategy of are you taking 2 tires or 4 tires. It's a long green flag run here. You're going to have to fill the tank up. You're pretty much going to be trying to run her here on E. Do you take 2 tires or do you put 4 tires on the car here on the first pit stop?
Well, I would think if you're going to fill it up, you might as well put 4 tires on. It's just going to take as long no matter what.
As somebody's motor expires. I believe that's the 25 of Jordan Smith as he's dropping through the field. Everybody getting around Jordan Smith pretty much. Oh, somebody into the back of Smith. Car around. The 19 of Carmen is around here in the trial with Jeff Pogo trying to come to a complete stop. Dennis Carmen is down to the inside as he spun around in the 19 machine as Jordan Smith. His motor has expired here. Let's see if we can throw it back here on a replay and find exactly what all just transpired. Let's go over top. There you already see the motor has expired for the 25 of Jordan Smith. There you see him dropping through the field as he's trying to stay out of the way, milling into the outside wall. And then I'm not sure what white car that was, but there you can see Dennis Carmen. And I believe that is the number 11 of Steve Schmidt also making hard contact there. So a couple drivers wrapped up in this little incident here. And it's gonna stay under green, but unfortunate for a lot of those guys.
Yeah, very unfortunate for these guys this early in the race.
So now it looks like Jordan Smith's going to head to the garage as he brought the 25 down pit road. Dennis Carmen also. Actually, I believe Dennis Carmen actually turned the 19 back around, and he's back out there trying to get back to pit road. It looks like right now Steve Schmidt is also down pit road in the number 11. There you see Jordan Smith already down on pit road as Dennis Carmen still continues to have the 19 out there on track, but well down on power. It looks like just about 40 miles an hour slower for the 19 of Carmen out there on track. As you can see, the pack really starting to bear down on him right now. So as we saw that motor expire there on Jordan Smith's car, could that have been something that, could have been avoidable, you think? Or, is that Doug Ongari going to have to go through the grass there? He's going to take the scenic route as he almost ran over the number 19 there coming down the backstretch. Ongari comes back up onto the track. The 43 just barely misses the 00 of Doug Ongari. So a lot of moments happening here in the last few laps here from Daytona. Craig Learman almost getting drove into by the 00 of Doug Ongari. So Ongari going to lose a ton of positions running inside the top 10. Now he's going to fight to stay inside the top 30, and I don't think he's going to be able to stay inside the top 30 here.
Yeah, going back to the Jordan Smith issue, I don't know if he maybe stayed behind, stayed in the behind somebody too long without poking his nose out, maybe just overheated and expired. I'm not really sure what happened.
It could have been one of those deals where these drivers have ran the Xfinity car here on Thursday night for the last couple seasons, and this year switching over. And I believe we're going to see green flag pit stops here in not too long, as a lot of drivers are starting to work their way to the inside line. But this is the first season for these drivers here at Daytona with this Cup car, as I think we might have just seen another motor expire. Maybe that was somebody starting to lag a little bit here as you saw the smoke on the outside lane. Looks like Steve Schmidt and Dennis Carmen are both sitting down there on pit road for the time being. Still out front, still the 29 of Jason Young. Justin Wilson's right there. And then it's Ryan Jones to the outside in the 91 machine. As they go down around the corner there is the 19 of Dennis Carmen coming back out on track. He is 2 laps down, though, right now. Coming to complete lap 29 here from Daytona.
Yeah, Ryan Jones with the 31 of Michael Bromley trying to push him to the front. See if they can get that outside line wound up.
Looks like Ira Kohlhaas is coming to the outside there in the number 15. He's running 7th right now, and right there is Michael Bromley in the number 31 machine. He's bringing the Busch Light machine to the front, and as there you see a big move. That was Aaron Davis in the Red Bull car. He went from the outside lane to the inside lane to try and find a hole. Might be just about pit time for him.
Yeah, we're definitely closing in on pit stops here, Roger.
As we come off turn number 4, anybody looking to the inside? Here comes a couple of them. Jason Young looks like he's going to bring the 29 down pit road, and then it's going to bring a slew of others. There's the 58 of Wilson. He comes down. Ott is also coming down pit road. So a handful of drivers down pit road here, and actually it gets even more guys coming down pit road. It looks like Allison's down pit road. Holyfield's Learman. Eland is also coming down. Luke LaFaro's down pit road, and everybody coming to a rest there in their pit stall. Actually, I'm going to say I was just about a couple drivers, or more than a couple drivers. It looks like about 10 drivers peeling off that main pack to come down pit road.
Yeah, that was a lot of our lead pack here coming down the pit road.
And as they all came down pit road, Ryan Jones and Michael Bromley are going to stay out here. But here comes, it looks like just about everybody else. Here comes the rest of your field down pit road. Hard onto the brakes. And a couple of them guys are sideways coming into pit road. We're going to have to see if there are any pit road speeding penalties. A lot of drivers driving on the left-hand side of pit road. Mac Robelny going to have to come to a stop with the number 4 car, almost getting into somebody down there on pit road. Somebody's turned around. The number 2 there of Jamie Leach is turned around on pit road, and so is Mac Robelny as he finds the inside wall. Jamie Leach looks like he's having to turn the 2 car around, so catastrophic failure here on pit road for the number 2 of Jamie Leach. As Jeff Pogo's coming in, he finds his pit stall in the number 24 machine, but it looks like a lot of these guys coming out of turn number 4 now, led by the 5 of Jim Ott here on this pack. And you see everybody rolling off pit road, but here comes a bunch of your leaders. They are going to be maybe a little bit farther ahead than a lot of these guys thought.
Yeah, I think this pack definitely got on and off pit road a lot faster than the pack that's coming off pit road right now.
Dan Dill right now, you see him coming onto the backstretch there in the VP 81. He is your leader, but he's going to get swallowed up here in just a moment by Jim Ott as he gets run down. Ott has Wilson pushing, then it's LaFaro, Learman, and then it's Young. That is your top 6 drivers, as there you see the 81 getting swallowed up by those cars as they roll around the outside lane on him. Everybody's starting to get spread out now. We're going to have to see. Everybody came down right around lap 30 here, so it's going to, looks like 3 more pit stops to make it the rest of the way here tonight.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see if some fuel strategy does come into play. Some people try and stretch it out a little more than others.
So now everybody starts to single file out, it looks like for the moment, but Jason Young was not happy being single file. He peeked the 29's nose out coming down the backstretch, but he went back in line. Then Dan Dill did catch the draft here with this pack, and he's sitting in the 6th position. Right there, a couple cars peeking out. That's the 03 there of Bradley Allison. He's looking to the outside. Doesn't have a dancing partner to go with him for the time being. He might be hung out there in no man's land because John Mullins, who's sitting there in 8th, and has actually now here comes a helper to the 03 car. Here comes the 6 of Eland. He's going to jump to the outside and try and see if he can catch the draft of the 03 machine. As now he jumps back down in line. I guess he wasn't catching them at their speed that he thought he was, and David Carmen now catches up with Jeffrey Price. So it's a 10-car breakaway here at the front. Jared Hagedorn just about hanging on there, almost in the no man's land with no draft back there for the 22 of Jared Hagedorn.
And this second pack behind him is trying to close in, led by the 98 of Ron Holyfield, with the 33 of Donald Bennett pushing him.
Yeah, so 2 packs right now, 2 main packs. And actually, we have another pack, and that's led a 2-car pack back here. That is Steve Holmes and the 31 of Michael Brumley. They're just a little bit off the pace here. It looks like 10 seconds behind your leaders. And then I'm not sure what happened, but Mac Robelny, who you saw on pit road facing the pit wall, is back here drafting with Jeff Pogo. They are 23 seconds and a half now, actually, as timing and scoring updated for us, sitting in 31st and 30th, respectively. Well off the pace. We saw Robelny had issues, but so did Jamie Leach, and Jamie Leach is actually out ahead of those guys by about 5 seconds, so I'm going to have to see if we can find clarification on what happened with both those drivers down on pit road. As it looks like Jared Hagedorn has caught that lead pack, so make it 12 cars in the lead pack. Your next pack is now led by Donald Bennett, and those guys are sitting at a rough 2.5 seconds back behind Jared Hagedorn, 3 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see if that second group can catch his lead pack. As they get single files, they're going to give it a go.
Yeah, Donald Bennett, who leads the pack, his Turn 3 Racing Network car looks pretty clean to lead the group, and he's got a good pusher there of Aaron Davidson in the 03 Red Bull machine pushing him. Then they got Chris Brown, so they got some really good super speedway drivers back here in this group of cars. They also got Doug Ungari back there. So, I mean, they have the cars, just do they have the time to catch back up here?
Yeah, there's plenty of laps to go right now. Just a few more green flag pit stops. A lot of things could shake up yet.
And as we're looking at it, the timing and scoring is starting to come down. Now that pack is just under 2 seconds, so they are definitely reeling back in the leaders here on lap 37. Probably give it another lap or two, and they're going to be right on the back door knocking on them.
Yeah, with this lead pack 2x2 and that second pack single file, they're going to catch them in no time.
So this whole front group here, led by Jim Ott and Wilson and LaFaro and Young. These guys all pitted on lap 7 laps ago, and this whole pack that's just starting to catch up, they pitted 6 laps ago, so they are 1 lap more, or closer to the finish on fuel, if you will. Do you think that's going to play any kind of strategy the longer they ran here on the first stint of green flag runs to the next run?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely couldn't hurt, but we'll see how it pans out here.
As remember, our 12-car field here, little breakaway after our green flag pit stops, has now turned into 24 cars. The guy who's hanging on to the back of that group here, that's going to be the driver of the number 40 East Penn Manufacturing Deca battery machine. That is Josiah Millen back there. A little bit of breaking news out of the Millen camp over the weekend, I believe. Jarrett, you know what transpired there with the Millen group?
Yes, I do. Sorry, ladies, the 40 of Josiah Millen is off the market now. He recently got engaged to his longtime girlfriend, Megan, and congratulations to both of them.
There it is, the driver of the 40 trying to do a little celebrating here in Daytona after being engaged in the offseason. Right now runs in the 24th position, just hanging on. Looks like he has a little damage, but it doesn't seem to really be hampering the performance of that number 40 right now.
No, definitely still having a strong run out there.
As right now it looks like Chase Berry in the number, I think his car says 11, but the timing and scoring is showing us as him as the number 30 as he goes to the outside there. He has a lot of damage. Remember when the motor expired on Jordan Smith's car, he was wrapped up in that little incident there, so he's going a lap down with a lot of damage on that 35 machine. Looks like we're going to be able to get around the lap car here pretty good. He went to the outside, and everybody is going around 2 by 2 as Chase is going to drop into the back here of this pack and see if they can pull him along. He is the first car 1 lap down. So if something were to happen here, Chase Berry would be the driver who gets the waiver round if he was not involved in the accident.
That outside line starting to get wound up with the 29 trying to challenge the 5 of Ott for the lead as they come down into turn 1.
Yeah, Jim Ott has found his way to the front here for the last 9 laps from Daytona as he's had the same guy pushing him, the number 58 there of Wilson. We told you, ladies and gentlemen, in the pre-race show that those two were working together in the off-season here from Daytona. When we came here for the KTM duels, we saw those two work together. It kind of just seemed fitting that we'd find those two working together here tonight for the Kronik 250. Coming to complete lap 41, not quite to the halfway marker, but it's been green flag racing since the start. Craig Learman finds himself up inside the top 10 right now in that STP 43 machine right in front of Dan Dill. That 43, the iconic Richard Petty paint scheme being driven by Learman here from Daytona, and he's got a pretty good spot here towards the front of the field, trying to bring one home for himself. It's the second year that Craig Learman has ran here with the USRA and has a good showing from Daytona. Highest running rookie out here of the field is going to be the 58 here of Justin Wilson. He's hanging on just in front of another one of those rookie drivers, the 64 of John Mullins. Both those drivers making their first actual points-paying race here for USRA. And they, right now, it's early yet. It's early. We know we're not to the halfway marker, but they have good showings here in the first half of the race.
Definitely some strong starts to the race here for these rookies. As it looks like that outside line still just can't seem to get even with that inside line.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Jarrett. Maybe you have a better camera angle than what we do here, but take a look at the 29 of Jason Young. I believe the front left fender on that machine may be crinkled up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, he definitely has some front end damage. That might, I don't think it's going to hinder him too much right now. Maybe if he gets past for the lead and is in the back of the pack, that might hurt him a little bit with that aerodynamics.
Yeah, usually if we were at a 1.5 miles like Charlotte Motor Speedway or even over at the Texas Motor Speedway, we might say that damage would maybe create a little bit of a tight situation for driver of the 29, but here from Daytona, and especially in his position, he's flat to the floor, and you don't really have to put too much wheel input, especially running that outside lane here from Daytona, so it's probably not hurting Jason Young too much on the outside lane.
I believe he also has some damage on the left rear of that car as well.
That possibly could have happened when we were coming down for green flag pit stops. We may have just missed that. We do know that he was right around the 25 car of Smith when his motor had expired, so possibly maybe getting a little contact there, and that's what got the damage done. We didn't see it, so we can't really tell you. We can just speculate and try and give you possibilities of where the damage came from.
Well, one thing I can tell you, it's not hurting him too much right now, as he's trying to get the lead as they come through turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, so as we know, there is 24 drivers here in the main pack. Where is everybody else? Well, there is Steve Holmes and the 31 of Broomley. They're still rolling around back here, 18, 19 seconds now behind your leaders. Sturgill back here with Ryan Jones. They are 22 seconds back. And then there's a pack of 4 back here. That's Jeff Pogo, Matt Grobelny, Jamie Leach, and I believe that might be the lap down car there of Tom Morano. So a 4-car little pack here. Going to try and see if they can catch these next two and make a 6-car pack. But right now, they're actually half a lap behind your leaders.
Yeah, this stays green flag. They're definitely going to have to pull some sort of strategy to work their way back up to the front.
And, as we look at this group here of Jeff Bogle and Mac Robelny a little closer, you see that there is quite a bit of damage on that number 4 Sim Necessities car. Is that hurting this pack at all? And it looks like also Jamie Leach may have a little damage too. So you have 2 damaged cars out of the 4-car pack.
Yeah, that might be hurting them a little bit. I mean, the 24 of Pogo leading them doesn't seem to have too much damage, so that definitely won't hurt them, but yeah, it could be a little bit of damage hurting them.
So it looks like this 4-car pack's now going to become a 6-car pack here once they work around the 90 car there of Sturgill and Jones to the inside, when they can kind of funnel into this group and see if they can make a little bit of a headway. Right now, though, they are still sitting 23 seconds behind your leaders, almost 24 seconds now, as they're trying to figure out who's going to be the caboose of the train here. It looks like that will be the 91 of Ryan Jones. He will take the back of the pack spot for the time being. But they are also now rolling up onto the back of Steve Holmes. They are starting to come with a head of steam to the back here. So it actually could be an 8-car group here in just a moment, but they are just so far behind your lead pack.
Yeah, they're going to need to get all the cars they can together in a straight line to catch this pack.
Now, at this point, a lot of these drivers are somewhere in between lap 15 and lap 17 on their pit strategy. If you're back here in this pack at this point, are you kind of going with trying to communicate with their spotters, saying, hey, we're going to have to work together from this point on as we're just about halfway?
Oh, absolutely. The more communication, the better. Everybody working with the same game plan should work a lot smoother.
So as you see there, the 9 of Holmes and the 31 there going high, and they're going to tag the back of the pack here, make it an 8-car freight train. But let's check back in with our leaders, because there's Jim Ott still leading the inside charge, and, well, there's Jason Young. He's still pulling the outside freight train for the time being. Nothing has changed at the front of the field. It's still Ott. It's still Young with Wilson, Mullins, LaFaro, Hagedorn, and then Learman, Bennett, Dill, Davidson, Allison, your next handful of drivers. Got a car blinking in your lead pack there. I believe that is the 35 of Chase Berry, that white car to the outside, third from the tail. I believe you saw a little bit of blinking issues out of that machine. But it's still 2x2, the traffic jam rolling down the backstretch, 199 miles an hour down that time into turn number 3.
Almost 200 miles an hour, just inches from each other. Takes a special kind of driver to drive this racetrack.
Yeah, this time by Jim Ott. Going to see the halfway marker here for the Kronik 250. Halfway in the books, been green flag racing, as he now leads the most laps, 19 laps led by the driver of the number 5 of Jim Ott.
And it looked like the 29 of Jason Young was trying to make a run to the outside. And he got up next to him, but then fall back about a car length.
Yeah, the Ott car to the front there, the number 5, has that right front damage. Remember when he went to the outside when Jason Young threw the block in about lap number 12? That gave him right front damage, but it doesn't look to be slowing the pace of the number 5. And well, you got 2 damaged cars pulling this front pack freight train. I guess a little bit of damage here on the fenders of these Cup cars with the new air package they have, it really isn't affecting them.
No, it doesn't seem to be affecting them too much. Wonder how the cars behind them are, if it's affecting their handle.
Well, we just saw 2 drivers swap positions. It looked like Doug Ungari going around Aaron Davidson for that position. He'll take the position now behind Chris Brown to the outside. So your outside line right now is the 29 there of Jason Young. Then it's John Mullins. Then it's Jared Hagedorn, Donald Bennett, Chris Brown, and Doug Ungari pulling the outside lane. Those are your first 6 drivers on your outside lane. Inside lane is Jim Ott, Justin Wilson. Luke LaFaro, sorry, got a little confused there. It's Luke LaFaro, then it's Craig Learman, your next 4 drivers. Dan Dill, the 5th driver to the inside lane there. So halfway now, working lap, looks like about 22 for a lot of these lead pack drivers. Remember, they all started making their pit stops 30 laps into their run, so right around lap 60, we're going to be looking here for the next round of green flag pit stops. And then you're going to have a lot of strategy, Jared. I'm a strategy player up here in the booth. I like to think about these little things. So if a lot of these drivers pit around lap 60, that is 30 and 30 laps. You still got 40 laps to go. What do you do at that point?
Well, if it stays green, I'm sure there's going to be some guys that are going to try and maybe stretch it. I mean, 10 laps is a lot to stretch. But maybe split it up into 20, or who knows, Roger. These drivers could think anything up.
Yeah, you know, you think about it, if you run it down to about with 20 to go, is we're actually looking like 3 wide at the front of the pack here, because the 64 of Mullins went to the outside and nobody went with him. Hagedorn's going to funnel to the back bumper here of the 29 of Young. The outside's going to lose the momentum for just the time being, but don't worry, I bet it's going to come back, because the 22 of Jarrett Hagedorn, one of the better speedway racers here in the USRA, has now brought that machine to running second to the outside, and he's bringing one of his teammates with him, a teammate if you will, I guess, because him and Donald Bennett along with Chris Brown and Doug Ungari, those guys running a lot of leagues together. They run on just about anything from these super speedways to let's go grab a SK modified and drive around South Boston to even slinging some dirt in the street stock. So here from Daytona, they're not really scared to be side by side, or well, even in the passenger seat handing somebody a beer.
Yeah, it's definitely nice. It makes you feel more comfortable with racing with guys you know. And that 64 Excite car, he is really hanging tough on the outside.
Yeah, no drafting help there for John Mullins to the outside, but he's making it work, and he's not really trying to side draft any of your leaders. I wonder if it's because you don't see the 22 of Hagedorn sucked up underneath. Oh, is now the 64 tags the wall there in turn number 1 and 2. That's going to slow him down to the outside there for a moment. I think he might have thought Jarrett Hagedorn was coming up the track a little farther than he thought. Jarrett Hagedorn, though, staying right where he was in the middle lane. The 64 just barely touching the outside wall as you saw the sparks fly.
Yeah, it just takes a little bit of friction. You're going to be going backwards, especially with no help on the outside.
Yeah, you know all about going backwards, don't you? You're usually going more backwards than you are forward.
Oh, yeah, after a couple beers, yeah, that's usually how it works.
Oh, see, I always forget the little comments to the bottom there in the really small fine print. Can't read very well, so I don't usually bother reading that stuff. But out front, look at that outside lane. A big wiggle there out of the 29 of Jason Young down into the corner. And that really slowed the outside lane down, because that 58 of Wilson, I don't think, big mover from the outside lane to the inside back there. I believe that was one of the lap down cars that are sitting there in the lead pack. That might have been the 42. Was that Morano? That is not Morano. Just so you know, ladies and gentlemen.
Meanwhile, up front, the 22 of Hagedorn getting under the 29 of Jason Young, and now Jason Young is hung out to dry on the outside line.
Yeah, so now Jason Young going to have to take the long stroll to the back as he tried to side draft the 03 there of Davidson, also known as the 32 machine. Davidson made the aggressive move to go to the inside then to try and get around him. Now Jason Young going to try and go side by side. We're 3 wide at about the mid-pack. Young to the outside, Mullins in the middle, and that looks like Allison to the inside.
And they go back down to 2 wide racing. Meanwhile, look who is lurking there behind the 22. It looks like he almost tried to make it 3 wide coming through 3 and 4. The 33 at Donald Bennett.
Yeah, Donald Bennett driving the outside, or pushing the outside lane, the number 22 right ahead of him. Then it's Chris Brown. And is that Doug Ungari, who almost stepped on his you-know-what a little while ago? He has now worked himself back into the top 10 as he is the 4th car to the outside, the 00 California driver. You know what they say about California drivers, right there, Jarrett?
No, I do not believe so.
Well, we'll save that story for another time, another day here, possibly, because, well, I'm sure we have kids out there pulling for the driver of the 00 of Doug Ungari. He's doing pretty good right now, kids. Don't worry. Look at that. Hagedorn going to nose ahead down into turn number 3 with Bennett's push to the back bumper. Bennett had to get off his back bumper, though, and that broke the momentum for the outside lane. Here comes the inside lane once again. And actually, here comes green flag pit stops.
Yeah, the 5, the 58, the 20, I believe the 1, all diving down pit road.
Jim Ott looks like Luke LaFaro, Craig Learman, Darren Scandarito coming down pit road. Chase Berry also down pit road. So a handful of your leaders. It looked like just about that whole inside lane down pit road. And turned out to be Jared Hagedorn, Chris Brown, Doug Ungari, Donald Bennett, Dan Dill, and Aaron Davis staying out here along with Mullins and Young also out here. Kohlhaas also staying out. So now the question is going to be, when do they chase the chicken down pit road?
I believe it won't be too far behind these guys. I wouldn't be surprised if they come in right now.
As here comes Young and Dill. A couple drivers peeling off the back of this pack here, and that's going to leave just a handful of them now out here on the racing surface as they're 2x2 for the lead. I think Bennett led that last lap there.
I was just going to say, I believe Bennett did get that last lap as he tries to get ahead of these guys. And no, here comes the 22 on the bottom. He's getting pushed by the one of Chris Brown and 00 of Doug Ungari.
Yeah, but Bennett's got a great push coming off turn number 2 from that Aaron Davis machine. Bennett going to go right to the bottom. Got a great push. Oh, he goes back up the track. Bennett wanted to go to the inside, but the Davis machine was not clear. And then he came back up right in front of Davis. And, well, I'm sure that scared Chris Brown just a little bit as they're going to actually continue to stay out there on track. They're going to stretch this. Oh, somebody making a big move to the inside. I think that was the 64 there of Mullins. I'm not sure if he was out of fuel from the outside lane, but he just cut off the 40 of Josiah Miller. We almost had a huge pileup here under green flag pit stops.
Yeah, that got a little sketchy. Good job by all the drivers to keep it under control. And it looks like these guys are trying to stretch it out. I mean, we said about stretching 10 laps out. That's going to be hard to do, but might be able to split it up.
Yeah, it looks like Millen, who also stayed out here, is the last one of your top 8 drivers, as he's kind of lost the draft after that all transpired, about a second and a half back from Donald Bennett and Jared Hagedorn. What's going to happen here off turn number 4, because Bennett is in the outside lane. Here comes Jared Hagedorn. Here comes Chris Brown, Doug Ungari, and Millen. They're all coming down pit road. Aaron Davis, Ira Kohlhaas, and Aaron Davis, Donald Bennett, Ira Kohlhaas, all going to stay out there. They are the last ones to have to pit here on green flag, and they are stretching it farther than anybody else has.
Yeah, with only the 3 of them out there, as the 22 getting sideways on pit road, trying to get into his pit stall.
Jared Hagedorn looks like he's got it in his pit stall because the right side tires are going on that MPBR car. So right side tires going on. Now it looks like it's going to be a 4-tire stop here for Jared Hagedorn. Chris Brown is down and away in the number 1 machine. He is going to come out of pit road all by himself. Now the slew of cars behind them coming out 3 wide. And it looks like they're single filed out, but Chris Brown looks like he is out on pit road all by himself. And here comes those 3 drivers. Donald Bennett, Aaron Davis, Ira Kohlhaas. They're working together for, is it Buhaka Esports? An odd name. We're going to have to get a confirmation on that. But Bennett, Davis, and Kohlhaas all down pit road. And it looks like Kohlhaas going to miss his pit. He's going to have to back up in the number 15. It looks like he's playing that, I think it's an Austin Powers where he back front. As now he finds his pit stall. But that's going to be a huge loss there for the number 15 of Ira Kohlhaas.
It's going to be a huge loss for the 33 and the 32 as well, as they really had to work together to get on and off pit road smoothly.
Not sure what happened to Chris Brown, but he is coming back down pit road in the number 4 machine. So he'll take an unscheduled pit stop here on lap 64. I'm not sure if he has a drive-through penalty, but he is coming down as he's actually headed towards his pit box. Maybe something went awry on the number 1 of Chris Brown as he's down pit road. It doesn't look like right side tires or left side tires going on the number 1 machine, but he is still sitting on pit road getting service done. 10 seconds in his box. 12 seconds now in his box. He is taking a long pit stop. Looks like about 14.7 seconds in his pit box for Chris Brown. Maybe, you know what might have happened there? Maybe checked the wrong box as he was coming down to make a green flag pit stop, and maybe forgot to add fuel in the 1 car.
Yeah, that could be a good possibility. Definitely want to get all the fuel you can at this point.
So now he's off sequence with the leaders and all by himself, still on the lead lap, but Luke Lafaro now cycles out here under the green flag pit stops as he now leads a lap here. 36 laps here at Daytona remaining here in the Kronik Racing 250, presented by Jamie Leach here tonight. And it's Lafaro, it's Dill, it's Learman, your top four. Then it's Wilson, Young, White, Carmen, Price, Scandarito round out your top 10 here from Daytona.
We have got a hornet's nest of cars up front here, getting down towards 30 laps to go. The being nice is about to be over. They're about to start pushing and shoving.
But you know who's hanging on to the tail of this little draft here? Look at that driver, the number 8 of Eric Hawley. He won the KTM duels here from Daytona just last weekend. He came away with the early season 5 bonus points and $50 richer here from the USRA. And right now, he's on a win streak kind of here. I think if I remember right and read the facts correct, he's won 3 out of the last 4 events here from Daytona, looking to possibly make it 4 out of the last 5 as he's hanging right there in the 15th spot.
You know, Roger, I was just thinking, who did he beat to win that duel last weekend?
Oh, were you talking to me again, Jared? I couldn't hear you over my awesomeness of at least showing up, finishing second.
All right, you got me there. At least you showed up and you finished second, but you still didn't win. So,
Jared, I got a question though. Did they pay points out to the top 5 in the KTM duel?
I believe they did.
Oh, so that means I have 4 points on the year. You don't. Well, that's going to be saving big money at Menards because here comes Donald Bennett and Allison. Actually, sorry, Davidson. Allison is a little bit farther back. Davidson now have caught the back of this group, so make it 17 cars under a blanket as you see Chris Brown in the one machine going a lap down here after he had to make that unscheduled pit stop. He's going to funnel to the outside here and let your leaders work around the inside of him. I'm sure the onboard camera here for the number 1 right now and the audio coming through those speakers is not something that is rated for more or for anybody under the age of 18, but you can go catch Chris Brown and his in-car feed right now live on Facebook. You can just go over to Chris Brown's personal Facebook page and you will be able to I guess hear what he has to say.
Yeah, meanwhile up front you got the 43 and the 29 working together pretty well on the outside. Just the two of them, basically, with the 23 trying to catch up to the back of them and get that outside line rolling.
Yeah, Travis White, somebody we haven't talked about much. Remember, he didn't get any laps in practice turned, and he actually didn't get any laps in qualifying as time expired when he was on his get-up-to-go lap. He started in your 34th position, now running in your 7th spot. So Travis White has one of the biggest moves of the race, but he was ineligible for the extra bonus points for the biggest mover of the event here, considering he didn't qualify within 1 second of the pole time here tonight. But leading the way, the man out of Missouri, going to be the 81 here of Dan Dill. He's got the VP Racing Fuels entry here tonight, and maybe he's got a little bit of extra octane booster in the tank for the 81.
Yeah, it could be a little something special under the hood of that 81, as he is trying to break away from this pack.
Yeah, he's trying to break away. He's got his good friend Luke Lafaro on the back bumper of the 81. Those drivers have raced with each other since season 1 with USRA, back when it was just the Xfinity car that they raced on a Thursday night. So they got to know each other pretty well over the last handful of seasons, racing in the Xfinity car, the truck, and now here with the Monster Energy Cup car. As you see the 5 of Jim Ott go to the outside. He's going to take away the outside lane from Craig Learman. Now can the 43 of Learman push the 5 back to the front?
As they come through turns 3 and 4, the 5 still trying to get around the outside. They just can't seem to get the momentum coming off the corners.
Now we're going to be interesting to see. Right now from this lap on, ladies and gentlemen, you are inside the window that you could possibly pit and make it the rest of the way. Remember, though, there is a green-white checker here with the USRA, here for the Cup Series. And it might be a little early when you consider that. If the green-white checker would come out, that's 5 extra laps under caution that you have to drive around here. And then it's also another 3 laps of green flag racing that you have to get back to the line. So maybe 30 to go is just too early to pit here at Daytona. Big wiggle out of the 30 car of Carmen.
Yeah, I would think about maybe another 5, 6 laps maybe. Start to see cars coming down, and they should be good to go if we get a green-white checkered. But yeah, right now it's a little too early.
And look at Chris Brown in the number 1. He may be a lap down, but he's trying to get his lap back the old-fashioned way. He wants to go up there, and he just wants to pass the leader at this rate. He looks like he's driving in the old movie Days of Thunder. He's going wherever he wants to.
Definitely got the moves of Cole Trickle going on as he tries to make his way to the front.
It's still Dan Dill, Luke Lafaro, Jim Ott on the outside holds the 3rd spot. This is the first time all night we haven't seen Jim Ott or Justin Wilson nose to tail. As we say it, it happens once again. Wilson going to go back in front of the number 5 here of Ott, and they're going to pull the outside. Jason Young looks for 3 wide. He thinks better of it. Nobody to go with him. He ducks back in 4th to the outside lane.
As they work their way through 1 and 2, the 58 of Wilson really trying to get around the 81 of Dill as they come down the backstretch. And it looks like he's going to stick about half a car length in front of him as they come into 3.
Yeah, down the backstretch. Now we're going to go 3 wide. Jim Ott ducks to the outside for the time being. Now he's going to jump back behind Wilson there to the outside lane. Dan Dill's going to retake the lead. Luke Lafaro shown in your 2nd spot. Chris Brown is that 3rd car to the inside lane. Do you think Brown, though, is wheeling and dealing with any of these leaders up there to possibly say, hey, I'm a lap down, but if you work with me and get me a lap back here, I might be able to come down pit road with you?
Yeah, I'm sure he's trying to make some sort of strategy deal. Definitely wouldn't hurt at this point in the race for him.
This group of cars is 17 cars strong. Jared Hagedorn is the tail end of the caboose. And then 17 seconds back, you find another group of cars. That's Ron Holyfield, Calvin Miller, Ira Kohlhaas, Jason Harrison, Bradley Allison, and Josiah Millen. They are all back here. And then I believe that is the lap car there of Chase Berry, all kind of in this group. They are all 17 seconds back. Then there's another pack of 3 drivers. They are 32 seconds behind your leader. That is Jeff Pogo, Matt Grobelny, and Jamie Leach. They are all back here 24 through 26. Michael Sturgill back here running 45 seconds back behind your leaders. 39 seconds behind your leaders. That's how fast his last lap was, Jarrett. 45 seconds.
Yeah, you'll figure it out sooner or later there, Roger.
But they are back here. That's Holmes, Jones, Broomley. They are all back here just hanging on to the lead lap. They are really in need of a caution right now because your leaders are just right behind him, because right there's your leaders coming out of turn 4 now as they are just at the start-finish line. At the line that time by, it was actually Justin Wilson leading the lap over Dan Dill by just the splitter on that car. You see a couple of these guys now starting to get separated. Maybe we're about to see another slew of green flag pit stops underway.
Yeah, that could be a very good possibility. Back them up a little bit so we don't get any accidents here.
We've been green flag racing here for 76 laps. Tuesday night, the Xfinity Series here for the USRA went 98 green flag laps before something happened towards the front of the field, and that kind of bunched everybody back up for one try at a green-white checkered. Maybe tonight they're going to try and do 2 laps better than they did on a Tuesday night, and the laps are ticking down. 24 laps to go now at the line. Dan Dill still holding the inside lane there with Luke Lafaro. Now it looks like Young has moved from the outside lane down to the inside lane to try and make. There's those lap cars that are just out in front of your leaders. Your leaders probably here in about a lap or 2 are going to start to really be able to get the draft on those lap cars, and then they're going to be able to get not only a little bit better fuel mileage for a little time being, but they're going to pick up a little bit of speed also as they're going to get that tow.
Was the bottom line really pulling away from the top line right now? The 58 and the 5 and the 43 really falling back off this lead group.
And you talk about the inside lane. Look at the inside lane. Fourth car back, I believe it is there. That black 00. That is the 5150 California native Doug Ungari running back in your top 6. Now trying to get to the 5th spot. And then that is Darren Scandarito running right there, the 51 machine. He is running in the 9th position. Good to see Darren Scandarito up inside the top 10. And then right there in the 30 machine, that is David Carmen. He's holding on to the top 10 spot, running 10th for the time being. Nobody electing to come down pit road this time, Jarrett.
Nope. Everybody's still staying out, trying to stretch fuel mileage as much as they can, as the outside line is starting to get wound up again as they come into 1.
That outside lane still being led by the 58 of Justin Wilson and Jim Ott right there, along with the 43 of Craig Learman. Down the backstretch they go. Learman actually going to dump the outside lane. He's going to go jump down in front of Doug Ungari, possibly looking to line himself up for a green flag pit stop.
As they come through 3 and 4, it's still Dan Dill, and it doesn't look like anybody's going to come down pit road again, Roger.
The laps are ticking away, and nobody is coming down pit road here. These leaders are now on right around between lap 17 and lap 20 on their, or 21 actually, if you're Craig Learman, on your pit cycle. "21 laps ago here from Daytona as they roar down the backstretch once again. Wilson edging out the 81 of Dill as they head down into the corner. And actually that inside lane got one heck of a run down there into turn number 3. And Dill now going to edge ahead. He's going to bring LaFaro along with him. They got 2 car lengths. Now Jason Young wants to try and see if he can clear the 29 machine yet. At the line, oh, contact at your leaders. Jason Young gave Luke LaFaro a big shot in the tri-oval. LaFaro went right up the track into the side there of the 58 of Wilson. Your leaders making contact here with 20 to go.
Starting to get dicey out there with 20 laps to go. Everybody trying to get to the front.
Trying to get to the front. Your leaders are at the front and almost wadded up your lead pack. That could have had big moments written all over it. That could have been your save of the race right there. If Justin Wilson or Jason Young come back to win this race, or even actually the 5 of Ott, because he also got a little bit of damage in that one, that'll be the save of the race for either of those drivers. 19 laps to go now. The clock is really starting to tick here on this lead pack.
Yeah, and I think the one that's realizing is the 33 of Donald Bennett. He was at the back of this pack and just about 2 laps ago, and he has already worked his way into the top 5.
You know what? I'm really impressed, though, not just with Donald Bennett, but I'm impressed that this pack that is sitting 41 seconds behind your leaders, only about 5 seconds out ahead, is this group right here by Sturgill and Holmes and Jones. They are still on your lead lap. They are running like the clock is ticking on their life right now to try and stay on the lead lap, as your leaders are still staying out here as they're 3 wide in the middle of the pack. Oh, almost contact with Darren Scandarito in the 23 there of Travis White as they came through the tri-oval. They're still going to be 3 wide. Davidson's in the middle, Ott to the bottom. White is all riding the rim around Daytona all by himself up there. Now they're going to figure it out. They're going to go 2 by 2 down the backstretch.
And as they come down the backstretch into 3, looks like that outside line trying to get it going again.
Yeah, there's a new player to the outside. Is that the 6? That is Dale Eland out there in the 6. He's trying to come to the front to lead some laps here from Daytona. At the line, it's still going to be the 81 of Dan Dill leading the way, but now with the 29 of Young pushing the 6 to the front. In turn 1, the 6 has the nose, but he drifts up the track. Oh, the 29's going to go 3 wide. Here comes Young to the inside of Eland.
Yeah, Ewan really getting hung out to dry as they come off of turn 2, and right now Young was going to try and lead that outside line to the front.
Now he's seen Young pushing a couple guys to the front here from Daytona, but now he finds himself being the one that's on the outside lane being pushed. He's got Wilson right behind him. Then it's Scandarito on the outside. Then that looks like that's Davidson trying to pull the outside train. White is back to the outside there, and Eland's going to find himself to the tail on that backpack, but it doesn't look like that outside lane is formed up as well as it was before.
No, definitely not. They're trying to get that outside lane going, but they just don't have enough cars to get around all the cars on the bottom.
16 laps to go. 15 and a half laps right about at this moment as they come down the backstretch. Dan Dill, Luke LaFaro, Jason Young, John Mullins, Justin Wilson, Darren Scandarito, Donald Bennett, Aaron Davidson, Jared Hagedorn, Travis White, Jim Ott. All your top 11 drivers this time. Oh, Craig Learman is around in turn number 4. Eric Holly, nowhere to go. Hard contact along with the 14 of Jeffrey Price. No caution is out as those drivers are being able to get their cars off the track. Jeffrey Price sitting right there on the yellow lines. We are going to have to take a replay. Caution flag is now waving here from Daytona. That is unfortunate. Caution flag rolling here waving here with 15 laps to go from Daytona. Wow, what transpired there as Luke LaFaro was at the front of the field, and Dan Dill is actually down pit road here. We're going to have to throw it back and find out what happened here on track. As it already was transpired, as we're getting a little bit of an issue here. We'll get it together for you. Don't worry. Where is the Craig Learman machine out there on track? There it is. We're about a half a lap away from initial contact as we're going to focus in on the 43 of Craig Learman. Or we were going to focus in on the 43 of Learman. Let's focus in, see what happens here. The 43 of Learman actually disappears on our screen here. The 43, it looked like had some network issues. And that's what happened there. As all your leaders were coming down pit road there, Eric Holly had nowhere to go. We're rewinding a little bit as the 43 was completely gone on our screen and then ended up just coming back out of nowhere. There's the 8 of Eric Holly. This is what he saw. The 43 spinning Price had nowhere to go himself. Eric Holly hard at contact to the inside wall. Loses the nose on that Volt number 8 machine. So that's unfortunate. It looks like a network connection really played havoc here. So Eric Holly down pit road, but your leaders now aren't going to have to worry about green flag pit stops. But the man in the catbird seat, I think, might be Luke LaFaro and Dan Dill because they were down pit road before the yellow flag waved.
Yeah, they could have a bit of a jump start in the rest of this field. Could find themselves in the leading this thing after pit stops.
So pit lane going to be busy here, your entire field. You know who this also really saves this yellow flag right here? It's going to save the 90 of Michael Sturgill, Stephen Holmes, Ryan Jones, and Michael Brumley as they were all about to go actually a lap down. Remember, they were just out in front of your leaders as there you see all your leaders coming down, hitting their pit box, getting their final pit stop of the night here. So a 3-car accident with 15 laps to go going to put us under the yellow flag as Justin Wilson is going to be the first guy out of pit road. And then how about that pit stop by Donald Bennett? He's going to come out rocking in the 4th spot. Aaron Davidson going to come out 5th. Jason Young going to come out 6th. Doug Ungari is 7th. Jim Ott losing a couple positions along with the 64 of Mullins. They come out 8th and 9th. And Travis White rounds out the top 10 because Dan Dill and Luke LaFaro are going to start on the front row here with about probably 11 laps to go here from Daytona. A heartbreaker, though, for a lot of these drivers who got wrapped up in this one.
Absolutely not the way they wanted to start their season off here at Daytona.
Now the strategy that we were all talking about, Jarrett, is pretty much throw it out the window, because we're going to line them back up, and we're going to go back to green flag racing here, and now it's just about anybody's ball game.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like you said, anybody's got a shot at winning this one. They're all bunched back up again. This should be a good final few laps.
There's your top 5 at the top of the board for the time being. It's going to be LaFaro, Dill, Wilson, Bennett, Davidson. That's your top 5. That's how, as you hear, actually a lot of guys coming through the camera there at the start-finish line with the motors off here on their cars. Remember tonight's race, though, the Kronik Racing 250 here at Daytona, presented by Jamie Leach. Jamie Leach, one of the drivers here with the USRA, been around since season number 1, driver of the number 2, Jamie Leach. Doesn't just enjoy running the super speedways, but he enjoys racing. The other week, I was out there, Jarrett, with Jamie Leach on track. We ran over there at the Miami Homestead Speedway, and let's just say I did everything I could, and he walked away from me and made me look like I was you.
Huh. That's pretty hard to make you look like me.
Is that a ball joke?
It could be. Depends how you want to take it.
Well, we do appreciate all of our fans tuning in out there over on YouTube if you found us, and we know a lot of these drivers enjoy coming back here to watch these races on your Turn 3 Racing Network. So if you like what the USRA put on here tonight, go ahead, hit the thumbs up, give them a like. If you like what you see here or hear here in the booth, go ahead, hit the little bell, get the notification anytime some of us go live here on the Turn 3 Racing Network, whether it be myself, Muth in the booth here, or maybe if it's Danny Valenzuela who broadcasts on a Monday night, or KR Stolfus. Sometimes you see him popping in and out around here, or Chris Legoo or Richard Hammond also over here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Something is always popping off around here. Somebody's got some kind of race tonight, though. It is your USRA boys here from Daytona. Looks like the lights are still on the pace car. The question is, actually, no, they go out now. We're going to go back racing. 10 laps to go, Jarrett. Is it time to pull the belts tight, put the gloves on, and go to the front?
Yeah, I would say so. I wouldn't waste too much time. I mean, maybe give it a few laps, but I wouldn't waste a whole lot of time here.
Now that's how they're going to line up there at the front of the field. Who are you picking at this point? With 10 laps to go, are you pulling for the 81 of Dan Dill, or do you got a dark horse at the back of this field that's going to come through?
Well, you know, I've been keeping a close eye on the 33, and he's been at the back of the pack, and he's worked his way up to the front. I think he's got a good shot at this one.
I think you're just a little bit biased because of the paint scheme on that 33 car.
Nah, come on, Roger. You know I'm not biased.
I know what it is. We have his picture up here on the screen. It's got to be the orange hair.
All right, you got me. It's the orange hair.
Or is it because he lives down the street from you?
No, it's definitely the orange hair.
I have to agree. That is a beautiful orange hair that Donald Bennett has there. Not only has orange hair, but has the orange Turn 3 Racing Network car. Let's see if Donald Bennett's able to finish her off here tonight. That's going to be your pick there, Jarrett. I'm just going to stay quiet. Otherwise, I'd probably pick the 00 of Doug Ungari, but we know what happens to Doug Ungari when you pick Ungari.
I believe he just did, Roger.
Oh, man, that means he's going to step on his... Well, with the lights on the pace car out here, he's going to make the left-hand turn here. We're going to go back racing. 10 laps to go here in the Kronik Racing 250 from Daytona. There it is. You heard it. Green flag is waving. And actually, Luke LaFaro got a really good start down there on that inside lane. Dan Dill was sleeping a little bit out there, and so was Donald Bennett. Sorry, as everybody comes up through the gears here at Daytona. Doesn't look like no missed shifts here tonight.
As the pack caught right back up to the 20 of LaFaro. That outside line trying to get wound up again, but that inside line is just so strong tonight.
That inside lane is pretty strong, but you got two guys who work together, Bennett and then the 81 of Dill right now nose to tail as they come down the backstretch. That outside lane is starting to make some hay on the outside lane.
Yeah, the outside line really starting to come into play here in the closing laps as the 81 is trying to get to the front past the 20.
At the line here, we're going to see 9 laps to go. Everybody is still 2 by 2. You don't see anybody making it a 3-wide attempt for the time being. Luke LaFaro is in control. He's got Wilson pushing the back bumper. Wilson! That's what Luke LaFaro is saying. He's saying, Wilson, come on. 9 laps from Daytona. They also got Davidson down there in that Red Bull machine. Then Doug Ungari is trapped down there in the 00 as they come down the backstretch once again.
As they come down towards turn 3, here comes the outside line as they come into turn 3.
As they come down, you see Donald Bennett getting actually pushed by the 29 there of Young coming through turns 3 and 4. As look at that big wiggle because all those drivers right there were all nose to tail. The 33 is going to get turned off the front bumper of the 29. Big chaos ensuing here on the front stretch. Look at everybody stack up, pile in here. We're probably looking at a good 15 cars all mangled in here with 8 laps to go at Daytona. Your leaders here being turned through the tri-oval. Wow, we are going to have to really dissect this one here at Daytona back under the yellow flag. We're going to have to rewind this one pretty far and get a good shot. That's not the shot we're looking for. Let's see if we can go over the top here and get a good view from the blimp. There you see the 33 is sideways. Ungari gets involved. I think only 4 cars get through this actually pretty much unscathed as you see everybody else involved. Looks like Matt Grobelny was involved. The 22 of Hagerdorn. The 31 is sitting down there of Brumley. He's involved. Ira Kohlhaas is involved. I think Ryan Jones is down there. Just about everybody, as there's the 03 of Bradley Allison. We're going to have to go back here, and we're just going to select somebody towards the back of the field here and see if we can, as it's already happened there. There you see it as that's our little wire cam there here at the front stretch. You see everybody just down there in the tri-oval, sideways, smoke going just about every which way you can believe. Let's see if we can go on board here, if we can actually get this to work with us right now. You're looking from Ira Kohlhaas's car coming through the tri-oval. Just nowhere to go for Ira to go as he just wrapped up in this, and then you see a couple cars come in. He gets hit a couple more times. Holyfield's right there. The 94 of Calvin Miller also involved. 40 of Josiah Millen and Jeff Pogo coming through there. Let's rewind that back one more time. There you see it from a different angle. All of it kind of unfold through the tri-oval. Just not what a lot of these drivers wanted to see. I'm counting here on the timing and scoring. It looks like only 12 cars not being wrapped up in that one, and that is Luke LaFaro, Justin Wilson, Dan Dill, Aaron Davidson, Doug Ungari, Travis White, Jared Hagedorn stays out. I think he got a little contact in there as that 22 looks a little beat up. So does the Travis White machine. Dale Eland stays out here. He's got damage to the 6 car. Allison, we saw him spin around, but he stayed out. Jeff Pogo's got a little rear end damage on the 24. Steve Holmes actually looks pretty clean in the number 9 Mobile 1 Ford. And then you got Sturgill back here in 12th. He stayed out. Those 12 drivers stayed out. Everybody else came down pit road with some kind of damage. It's going to be interesting to see on this restart who can get up to speed and who can't.
I'm not sure how that 00 is going to fare here. He's got quite a bit of damage. He is missing the front end on that car.
I'm trying to scroll and look to see who's out there and available to talk. And sometimes here at Daytona, you got to be kind of selective, Jarrett. You kind of know that as a driver, you don't want to pull the wrong driver because of what just transpired here at the end of Daytona.
Oh, absolutely. Tempers start flaring, and just sometimes just not a good time right after the wreck.
Maybe we're just sitting here and talk. Actually, there's a driver out there that we can pull. Let's see if we can talk to this guy. He's been out of the race for a little bit. He's not out there on track. Let's see if we can get a word in with the driver of the number 8. Big money, do you have us from Menards?
Yes, sir, I got you.
Well, Eric, it's not the night here from Daytona that you wanted. You weren't wrapped up in this last incident, but like Jarrett and I were talking about here, you got to be kind of selective when something like that happens. So you were involved in that last incident. What transpired back there with about 20 to go?
We had a car blink out for about a half a lap, and then he showed up on the apron, and somebody turned him, and unfortunately I caught the wrath of it.
Yeah, so nowhere for you to go in the 8. Tell us about what was happening out there. It looked like you had a strong Ford Mustang tonight.
Yeah, I was just kind of picking my marks and trying to be there at the end.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like tonight you're going to be here at the end as you're sitting behind the wall. It looks like right now you're sitting in the 33rd spot. Any plans to get the 8 out there to make another lap or two?
As it stands now, unless there's a couple more cautions, I think I'm done.
Well, that's unfortunate for the driver of the number 8 of Eric Holly. Not going to be saving big money tonight at Menards as he finds the number 8 wrapped up into a little bit of a scuffle with about 20 laps to go. But I think the lights on the pace car are going to go out here, Jarrett. We're going to get an attempt here to finish this one out before we go to the green-white checkered.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if we're done with the cautions yet, but they're going to give it a go here.
Now, you were talking before we talked to Eric Holly there for a moment that the 00 of Doug Ungari's car was not looking too hot.
No, definitely, missing the front end, can see the radiator. I don't think he's going to have too much speed in that car going green here.
Well, it looks like a modified.
Yeah, but I don't think those can compete with the Cup cars here.
It does look like he might be just a little bit aerodynamic challenged?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, we'll go with challenged. But your front two on the inside lane that are going to light up nose to tail, Luke LaFaro, Dan Dill, both those machines look rather clean. To the outside, the front two, that's going to be Justin Wilson, and then it's going to be Aaron Davidson. Then you got two damaged cars of Doug Ungari and Travis White. Going to be interesting to see if that third row gets up to speed here when we go green flag.
Yeah, I think this could be a four-car race here to the finish.
That's a long way to the finish. We're going to get the green flag here with 4 laps to go at Daytona. There goes the pace car to the inside. Pace car is down and away. Green flag is back to waving. Here comes Dan Dillon. He is pushing the Dickens out of Luke LaFaro early. They are going to try and check out from the field because they know Ungari is sitting there. He is a sitting duck with all that damage, and I believe actually the 03 here of Aaron Davis, also a lot of damage. Somebody is turned around towards mid-pack. Somebody is turned around. Looks like Ron Holyfield is involved in this one. Gonna have to take it back once again to find out what happened. Ron Holyfield involved.
Looks like the 91 of Ryan Jones was involved too.
Oh, something happened in front of Ron Holyfield, actually. That was the 91 of Ryan Jones. We're going to have to back it up just a little bit farther here. And Ryan Jones looks like he was going to the inside here in the 44, and something just went array there. 44 gets turned around. Kohlhaas is involved there, the 91, and Holyfield actually just elected to go through the grass there. You saw the 91 bouncing up onto the wheels of the 44. I guess they were trying to go with the 8 wheels are better than 4.
Yeah, for a split second there, it was 7 wheels.
Well, somebody thought they could fly a little bit here at Daytona. Well, we're going to take a quick break here before we wrap this one up here from Daytona. Don't go anywhere. You're going to want to see the end of this one. Right now, Luke LaFaro leads it. Dan Dill a second with Justin Wilson hanging on to third.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic, real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Well, welcome back here to Daytona International. You see it in the upper left-hand corner. 3 laps to go. It's going to be, and it's going to be a barn burner because this is going to be the green-white checker. One shot at it. Next caution flag will end the race unless we can get back to the line for the white flag. There is your top 5 at the top of the screen. It's going to be Luke LaFaro, Dan Dill, Justin Wilson, Aaron Davidson, and then Dale Eland. That is how we will restart your top 5. Your next handful of drivers, it's going to be Jeff Pogo, Travis White, Michael Sturgill. Then it's going to be Doug Ungari and Jeff Price rounding out their top 10. Jared Hagedorn is 11th with Bradley Allison 12th. Then it's Stephen Holmes and David Carmen 13th and 14th. Donald Bennett rounds out your top 15. He is still out there circulating the track. So you might as well, Jarrett, crumble up the papers that we've all been doodling on here tonight, figuring out the fuel strategy. It's out the window. It is over with. Your partners that you've been working with, throw those away too.
Yeah, it is definitely every man for themselves out here with these 3 laps to go.
3 laps to go here. It's going to be the green, the white, the checkered. Here it is. Luke LaFaro going to bring us to green. The green flag is waving as you see here them all coming up through the gears. There is the 58 of Justin Wilson. He is beaten on the back bumper now of the number 20 of Luke LaFaro as they head down towards turn 1. It looks like we're going to make it to turn 1 this time under the green flag. And now 2 by 2 is your front 4. There you see Davidson. He is up to the outside. He has not enough power in that Red Bull machine to hang with your leaders here. Jeff Pogo is starting to inch back in off turn number 2 towards the front of your leaders.
Coming down the backstretch, it is a 4-horse race with the 24 and the 90 close following them, trying to catch them as they come through 3 and 4.
Into turn 3 and 4, the 24 of Pogo has now brought along the 90 of Sturgill. And look at Pogo, he's going to dive it down to the inside. He thought about going 3 wide for a moment. Here comes the 24, nowhere to go. He ran out of momentum. We're going to get the white flag. The white flag is now waving here in the Kronik Racing 250 here from Daytona, presented by Jamie Leach. One more lap, 2.48 miles left here from Daytona.
And as they come through 1 and 2, Pogo looking for room in the bottom, but the outside line trying to get wound up with Dill leading the pack on the backstretch.
Nowhere for Jeff Pogo to go, and Dan Dill's turn around on the backstretch. They are wrecking down the backstretch. Eland is up and over. He is on his lid. Looks like only Luke LaFaro has made it through the accident unscathed. Luke LaFaro is out front. Dan Dill was shown second. Look at him. He is downhill still as everybody is piling in. Doug Ungari comes in. Chris Brown out of turn 4 all by himself. Not a soul in sight. The number 20 of Luke LaFaro is going to win here at Daytona. Wow, what a race we just saw. As it's going to be like I'm saying it's going to be like a scuffle for second. It is, as Bradley Allison's going to come home second place here tonight. Wow, what a finish. Josiah Millen comes out of nowhere, finishes 3rd here from Daytona. We thought his race was over about 50 laps ago when he was up against the outside retaining wall.
Wow, wow, and wow. This series does not disappoint. You can't write these finishes.
You can't write it, Hollywood. Sign it up here for the USRA. Let's throw it back, see if we can actually find. We're going to see if we can find it. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to at this point. Let's see if we can find Dan Dill out there on track. All right, there we already see he is turned around. This happened right out front of the pack. Let's see, where is Dan Dill? Is it going to let us do it? We're having a little bit of connection issues. We know when iRacing does these updates, sometimes we get these little bit of blips. But here we go. There it is. You saw the contact between the 6 and the 58, and everybody else just piling in there. Steve Holmes down to the inside. Josiah Millen. There is Donald Bennett comes slamming through in the 33. Look at Dan Dill. How much of a bounce around he was. Josiah Millen literally looked like he almost came to a stop and then started back up in the number 40, and that's how he made his way around a lot of these drivers here to come all the way back to finish in the 3rd spot. Wow. All we got to say is wow.
Nothing else you can really
I mean,
say.
I don't know what to say. It's such a great race going there, and then Dan Dill's race was pretty much swept up from underneath him with nothing that he could have done here at Daytona. And that's the top 5, how they come home here. Luke LaFaro, Bradley Allison, Josiah Millen, Aaron Davidson. Chase Berry comes home 5th. That's your top 5. We're going to let it scroll across the top here. Find your favorite driver. Find where they finish. We're going to step away. We are going to see if we can get your top 3 in here to chat with us and tell us what all transpired there on that last lap, because that was one wicked finish to open up the season. Well, race fans, it's the USRA. It was the Kronik Racing 250 presented by Jamie Leach right here at the Daytona International Speedway to kick off the first race of the season in the USRA Cup Series. And what a finish we just saw. We just saw a calamity backstretch just unfold there. Dan Dill thought he might have been in the catbird seat coming towards turn number 3 on the final lap, and it was all in the blink of an eye taken away from him. He's going to wind up coming home all the way back in the 12th position along with Justin Wilson. Those two were up there battling it out with Luke LaFaro for the win. Luke LaFaro was the only one that came out of the backstretch actually unscathed there. Came home with a 5-second lead over the second place runner, the 03 of Bradley Allison. But we don't have Bradley here in the post-race show to talk to. We don't see him out there in our team speak. So we do have 2 drivers though. And I believe, Jarrett, you caught up with the driver who came to a complete stop on the backstretch just about and still finishes 3rd.
Yeah, Roger, I'm here with the 40 of Josiah Millen. And Josiah, we are at a loss of words up here in the booth. Tell us what happened that last lap.
I mean, I'm at a loss of words myself. I mean, I don't think I cracked the top 20 the entire race. I had a few incidents on track, and coming to that last green-white checkered, I mean, I that last caution or last wreck on the backstretch, I lifted. I had openings, and I just kind of got back in it and raced back to the line, and I'm pretty surprised that I came out in 3rd. So this is, I guess I really had lady luck on my side.
Yeah, you know, a bit of a rough go of it tonight, but like they say, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And so who would you like to thank tonight, parking in 3rd place here?
I'd like to thank you guys in the booth, Turn 3, and Jeff Pogo and Eric Hawley for running this series. I ran this series a couple seasons ago, and I kind of took a break. But this is a really good series, bunch of great guys. I mean, but this is super speedway racing, so it's like I said, lady luck on my side. And I'd also like to thank my new fiance. So she lets me do all this gaming stuff. So big shout out to her.
Smart man. Thanking the newly fiance. And Josiah, what are your thoughts as we head to Vegas next week? 1.5 mile speedway track.
I mean, I'm not really out there for wins. I mean, I'm just looking to have fun. I mean, and get better. I mean, running this series with these group of guys, you can only go up from here. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, good group of guys. So, we'll see what happens from here on out.
All right, Josiah. Well, congratulations on your third place, and good luck next week. And I believe Roger has caught up with our winner.
That's right here, Jarrett. I have caught up with the winner, the number 20 of Luke LaFaro. Luke, nobody can take this away. You are the first ever winner for the USRA Cup Series right here at Daytona.
Yeah, I'm super pumped about that, man. I mean, this race, it's awesome to win at Daytona, especially at a night like this. 35 people, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, 37 guys actually joined the lobby. 36 guys take the green flag. You've been here with the USRA since, if I remember correctly, sometimes my mind slips, but I think you were here since season number 1, and a lot of the guys from season 1 still here tonight at Daytona. How hard is it to race against these guys week in and week out to get wins?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely hard. I mean, some of these guys, like you said, have been racing from season 1 to season 4, I think it is this season. I get mixed up too. But yeah, definitely, this league's definitely challenging, but it is also very fun to race against these guys too.
Yeah, talk about those closing laps there. You found yourself out front with the 81 of Dan Dill. You're no stranger from going toe-to-toe with Dan Dill. Were you nervous at any point in time out there battling with Dan and a couple of the new guys like Justin Wilson and I forget who else was out there at this moment, but new guys mixed in with old guys, does that get nervous?
Yeah, it definitely does get nervous, especially, when I was at first, like 5 laps to go. You get nerve-wracking, You think everything, you just try and survive out there.
Trying to survive is the name of the game when you come here to a super speedway. You did that. You got the white flag, coming down the backstretch, you saw everything kind of happen behind you. What was going through your mind when you looked up and you looked down at the relative and realized you were the last one still going forward?
That was awesome. I mean, coming out of the backstretch, I saw Dan had a run with the guy behind him, and I was like, oh no, this might be the end. But all of a sudden, everybody started wrecking, and I'm like, where'd everybody go? And I look at my relative, and they're all wrecking, and I'm like, yes! And I was so happy.
Well, to be so happy here from Daytona, you're going to leave Daytona, I think. Well, I shouldn't say I think. You are going to leave Daytona here as the points leader, so that's got to be your pretty good feeling here to start off at Daytona with the win and the points lead heading into Las Vegas.
Yeah, it's definitely a good bonus when you have the points lead at the first race, I mean, there's still a ton of races to go, but it's definitely nice to have the points lead.
Yeah, so how about this? We head over to Las Vegas just 1 week from now. How do you feel from leaving Daytona Beach here, heading to the desert?
I feel pretty decent. Las Vegas is probably one of my decent tracks. Probably not my strongest, but I think I could probably pull out a top 10, maybe top 5.
Well, top 10, top 5 could possibly keep the points lead even next week when we head out of Las Vegas. But before we let you go here, Luke, we're going to hand the mic over to you. Who do you have to thank for parking the number 20 here in Victory Lane?
I got to thank you guys in the booth for broadcasting this race, and I got to thank Eric and Pogo for putting this league on, and I got to thank my parents.
Well, there you heard it. Always got to thank the parents. They're the ones that let him come out here on the sim racing platform here of iRacing. And Luke is your winner here from Daytona for the Kronik Racing 250 here, presented by Jamie Leach. Jarrett, it was one action-packed night here under the lights in Daytona.
Absolutely, Roger. If this is any indication of what we're going to see the rest of the season, it is going to be a fun season and a very unpredictable one as well.
Yeah, we've seen a handful of drivers come out and lead laps here. Jim Ott's going to walk away with the most laps led. Dan Dill, Luke LaFaro both tied with 17 laps led. Looks like Doug Ungari led 14 laps. Jason Young led 13. Wilson led 4. Bennett led 3. And Hagedorn himself led 2 laps. So a lot of guys getting the lead laps here from Daytona, but they didn't lead the one that mattered. Luke LaFaro did, as he saw everybody wrecking behind him on the final lap, and he was at that point, you heard it, he was just so excited. He thought that was the greatest thing on this earth, as he looked up and there was nobody behind him to chase him for the win. So congratulations to Luke LaFaro. Congratulations to Bradley Allison. We didn't get to speak with Bradley, who came home second, but we did get to speak with the man who came home third here tonight, the number 40 of Josiah Millen, newly engaged to his fiancee, longtime girlfriend of Megan Timmerman, so congratulations to both of them. Fourth place here tonight, the rookie of Aaron Davidson. Chase Berry comes home after being a lap down early on. He got his lap back with 15 laps to go and made the best of it. He came back to a 5th place finish. Jared Hagedorn finished the 6th here tonight. Donald Bennett rallies back after being turned around with a handful of laps inside 10 to go to a 7th place finish. Steve Holmes comes home 8th. David Carmen 9th. 10th is the number 91 of Ryan Jones. Find the rest of your drivers there as they scroll through the rest of your field. 37 drivers entered here from Daytona, and, well, I don't think there was a car really that had a straight quarter panel left, Jared.
No, there's definitely a lot of beating and banging, a lot of wrecking at the end of this one. Definitely going to be a lot of body work in the shop this week.
Yeah, but it's a short turnaround. It's only 1 week till we head back to Las Vegas. You can find us right here next Thursday night with the USRA Cup Series as we head to the desert. It's going to be a tough one out there. A lot of sand, a lot of dirt, and, well, high noon in Las Vegas spells a disaster for a lot of guys. See if these guys can handle being out there in the desert with all that pressure. Next Thursday night, 7:30 lobby opening time, 8 o'clock green flag drop right here on your Turn 3 Racing Network.